Have you ever had an answer that wasn't what you wanted? Let me explain. Have you ever had a promise or something that you knew God was working on, something that you knew that God was doing, but all the evidence around you points to it's not done, it's not happening? So today I went to the doctor and I did not get the answers I wanted. As a matter of fact, he was predicting and projecting diagnoses on me that would make my condition worse than what it actually is. Now, what you have to know is, when I was first diagnosed with this microadenoma on my the front of my brain, I was already told by God that I would come through the fire and not be burned. I would go through the waters and not be harmed. And when I say God told me, I mean I was having a pity party laid across my bed, and I opened my Bible, and that was the verse that spoke to me. It was the first verse that my eyes fell on. So that has been my mantra through this whole thing, that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. The fire's not going to burn me. The water's not going to drown me. Everything's going to be all right. Well, I've been prophesied over multiple times by multiple people that I'm healed, that my healing has started, that it's done. When I went to the doctor today, everything pointed to not even close. I'm not even close to being healed. In fact, I'm going the opposite direction. They're wanting to up my medication, and they're wanting to do more extensive things, and it's not what I really wanted to hear. But I knew that my symptoms are still here, and I knew that I wasn't going to probably get a diagnosis that it's all over. But on the flip side of that, I have two choices. Do I believe the report of the doctor, or do I believe the report of my Jesus? And I choose to believe the report of my Jesus, and I'll tell you why. Because when the doctor was looking at all my test results today, when the doctor was doing his exam, when the doctor was looking at my symptoms, he was looking at everything through the scope of where is she at today. But Jesus is not bound by time. 1 year is as 1,000, and 1,000 is as one. He knows the beginning from the end. So if God says I am healed, I don't know what point he's actually looking at in my life. I know I'm healed. Do I feel healed? No. Everything in my body tells me you're not healed. Everything that the doctor looks at says you're not healed. But that is, I'm not healed today. But if Jesus says I'm healed, that means Jesus is looking at some point in my future that he's determined where I am healed. So that's what I have to hold on to. The fact that it doesn't matter what I can see right here, because I'm limited. I'm limited by time and space. I'm limited in looking at what's going on right here in this moment, in this area that I'm in. But Jesus isn't. Jesus knows the beginning from the end. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He knows exactly what's going to happen in my life. So when he sends a prophet to tell me you're healed, when he's impressed on me in dreams that you're healed, when he's had people pray over me and they have felt to tell me that you were healed, I'm not going to doubt because of what I can see in the now. Because Jesus isn't bound by the now. So if you have a promise, God said, a prophet told you, and you know it's from the Lord, you'll know, you'll feel it. And everything around you says, no, it's not happening. That promise is void. It's not going to happen. There's one thing God cannot do, and that is lie. So, like me, if God said I'm healed, and the doctor says I'm not, my body says I'm not, God's not a liar. He cannot lie. He can only tell the truth. So I have to know that he sees something that I do not. So if you can't see your promise happening right now, if you can't see it in your vision, remember, you don't have the same vision God has. It's all about perception. He sees from a much larger scale. We only see what's right in front of us. But God is looking ahead of you, and He's saying it's happened. That promise is fulfilled. And so if God has promised you something, don't believe what you see with your natural eye, because trust that God Almighty sees something ahead of you in the spiritual that's going to come to pass, because He won't lie. He won't deceive. His plan is to get you to the expected point that you're supposed to be at. Remember, the plans that He has for you are He thinks good thoughts. He wants to bring about an expected end. So if He says it's done, step back and just worship, because it is done. Is it done today? Maybe not. But if He says it's done, it means He sees that it is already complete. And I'm going to worship right here while I am waiting on me to catch up with God's vision.